Hello fellow book lovers, my name is Giselle and welcome to the Adventures of Giz. Today's video is about my 20 most anticipated releases of 2020. So I decided to dress up for today's video because why not, and I thought it would be fun. So this is in release date order. I will probably do another one of these videos later on in the year just to include most of the second half of the year's books. First up, we have A Heart So Fierce and Broken by Bridget Kemmerer, and it is being released on the 7th of January. This is the second book in the Cursebreaker series. I completely loved the first book, and in it we follow a girl called Harper who is from our world. She is from Washington DC as far as I can remember, and basically she gets accidentally kidnapped and taken to this fantasy alternative realm of Emberfall, and it is just really fun and funny and exciting, and it is just a fantastic book. I love all of these characters and I can't wait to see what happens because the plot twist at the end of the last book was great. The next book is Scavenge the Stars by Tara Sim, and it is also being released on the 7th of January. The main character, Amaya, rescues a man from drowning and thinks that there are going to be bad repercussions for what she has done. But what happens is that this man offers her a new identity, lots of money, and basically offers her a new life. Her main aim in life is to get revenge on the man who ruined her family. But things start getting really complicated when she gets to know the son of the man who ruined her life. Next up, we have Infinity Sun by Adam Silvera, and it is being released on the 14th of January. So Infinity Sun is about two brothers called Emil and Brighton. In this place there are these things called spellwalkers who basically go after these other creatures called specters, and the specters actually drain and take magic from other people. Brighton just wishes he had power so that he could also join this fight. Emil, on the other hand, just wants the fighting to stop, but one day he manifests his own powers, and these powers put him right in the middle of this war. This just looks fantastic, and I've never read any of Adam Silvera's stuff, but I think it'll be really good and I can't wait. Next up, we have The Hand on the Wall by Maureen Johnson, and it is being released on the 21st of January. This is the third book in the Truly Devious series, and I have absolutely loved the first two books in the series. In it, we follow a girl called Stevie Bell who really wants to go to Ellingham Academy. The story follows two separate plot points. So we have Stevie Bell in her time, and we also see the other point of view, which is basically Ellingham Academy whilst the cold case was happening. We follow Stevie as she starts discovering stuff about the cold case and also starts figuring out things about the current things that are happening around her at her time. Next up, we have All the Stars and Teeth by Adeline Grace. This is being released on the 4th of February. In this, we follow the main character Amora as she is a princess to a kingdom which is based on an island, and what happens is Amora is forced to have a very specific type of magic. Now everyone else in the kingdom is allowed to choose what magic they specialize in, but Amora is forced to specialize in Animancer, which is the master of souls. In order to get her crown, she has to show proficiency in this type of magic, and during a demonstration things go awry and Amora is forced to flee her kingdom. She makes a deal with a pirate called Bastion. He will help her prove that she has this magic and is fit to rule, and she will help him gain back his stolen magic. Now this just sounds fantastic, and the cover's gorgeous, and I cannot wait to read this one. Next up, we have The Shadows Between Us by Trisha Levinsella, and this is being released on the 25th of February. I just love the synopsis for this on Goodreads, so I just have to read it. It says, Alessandra is tired of being overlooked, but she has a plan to gain power. 1. Woo the Shadow King. 2. Marry him. 3. Kill him and take his kingdom for herself. This just is... I love it. I love it so much. But basically we follow this character, and there are other attempts on the Shadow King's life, but Alessandra basically protects him in order to kill him at the right time so that she can gain his power over the kingdom. It feels very much like these characters are awful but amazingly awful, and I am just going to absolutely love them. Next up, we have Chain of Gold by Cassandra Clare, which is being released on the 3rd of March. Now, I adore the Shadowhunters world, and what I know about this book is that it is set in Edwardian London. I don't know anything else purely because I have not finished Clockwork Princess yet, and I did not want to read the synopsis of Chain of Gold in case I spoiled the entire thing for myself. So there we go. All I know is it's Shadowhunters in Edwardian London. If you don't know anything about this, Shadowhunters are basically the peacekeepers between demons and humans in our world, and it's just a really fun world to read about, and I cannot wait for Chain of Gold, but I really do need to finish Clockwork Princess immediately in order to finally read the synopsis of the next book. Next up, we have The Raven and the Dove by Caitlin Davis, and that is being released on the 9th of March. This is a Tristan and Isilda retelling. We follow a girl called Princess Liana, and it is the day before these mating trial games kind of happen between her kingdom and the other kingdoms, which all float in the sky. It is really cool. Another thing is that all of the people from these kingdoms have wings, which is why it's called The Raven and the Dove. Makes sense. And these games are basically to determine who gets to choose their mating match first. Now, on the other hand, we also follow a character called Ruff. Now, he is the bastard, identical brother of the crown prince of the House of Whispers. What happens is that Xander, the actual crown prince, has a secret that he wants to hide, and instead he sends Ruff in his place to go to these mating games and win him a bride. We can just see straight from there, like, it's a chaotic book. I've already read it because I got an advanced reading copy, and it's just pure chaos. Everything goes wrong in these books. It is, oh my gosh, it's a fantastic setting though. I would definitely suggest reading it if you're feeling like a fantasy romance, because that is perfectly what this book is. Next, we have Bone Criers Moon by Catherine Purdy, and that is being released on the 10th of March. The Bone Criers are basically the people who stop the dead from preying on the living, but their powers come from sacrifice. The sacrifice of the Bone Crier is the sacrifice of their true love. In this, we follow a girl called Elise who has to perform the sacrifice in order to become the matriarch of the Bone Criers. On the other hand, we have Bastion, whose father was also killed by Bone Criers, and he comes across her, kidnaps her, and takes her prisoner. We also follow another character, which is Elise's best friend, and Sabine, who goes after and tries to free her best friend and help her out of this dilemma, which is killing the person who was fated to be her true love. Now, this just sounds like so much drama, and I am all ready for the drama train. Next up, we have Girl, Serpent, Thorn by Melissa Bashadast, which is being released on the 12th of May. In this, we follow a princess called Soraya. She is cursed to be poisoned to the touch. She has basically lived her whole life staying in her favorite garden and just away from people in general. But her brother's wedding approaches and she has to decide if she is ready to go or not. And I don't quite know how it comes in, but we also know that there is a demon in the dungeons of where she lives, and this demon has information she needs. Now, Girl, Serpent, Thorn just looks like a absolutely fantastic book, and there is going to be so much drama in this. I don't know, I can just feel it. Am I in the mood for drama? Clearly, because all of the books I've chosen so far are really dramatic. So there we go, I'm really excited for it. Next up, we have The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes by Suzanne Collins, which is being released on the 19th of May. In this, we follow the world of Panem again, and it is 64 years before the original Hunger Games books are set. And this specific book starts on the morning of the 10th Hunger Games. I'm so curious to see what Suzanne Collins does with this world, and I feel like just the Hunger Games lends itself to a really fun story. Well, not fun. Even though it's been years since I've read the Hunger Games, I still do have a love for it, and I can't wait. Next, we have a book that I already read the advanced reading copy for, and that is Of Silver and Shadow by Jennifer Grunker. which is being released on my birthday, which is the 26th of May. One of the main characters we follow is Ren, and she is just a fantastic character. Ren is a silver wielder in a kingdom where having magic, especially silver wielding, is not a good idea because you will be hunted down and killed by the king. This is just a perfect setting for the kind of book that this is. The other perspectives we follow is the Crown Prince. Love him so much. His name is Kellen. We also follow Derek, which is the leader of the rebellion and a guard from the palace. She is not just a guard though, she is one of the king's children, which are a special elite force which basically do the king's bidding. Now, all of these characters are fantastic. These side characters are amazing. I love this world so much. There's LGBTQ representation, there is a varied cast of characters, and I just absolutely love this. And it is a standalone, but I really want more of this world and of these characters. Next up, we have Where Dreams Descend by Janella Angeles, and its release date is the 2nd of June. This is a new duology about magicians in a city of ice and ruin. We also follow 3 other magicians, and they are trying to become the headline act for the Conquering Circus. Now, on the side of this, magicians are going missing, and these 3 magicians have to face their secrets before they go missing too. This just looks so fun. I can't wait. Next up, we have The Damned by Renee Audier, and it is being released on the 9th of June. This is the follow-up to The Beautiful by Renee Audier, and it is the second book. I read the audiobook for The Beautiful in December, and I absolutely loved it. I love the setting of it. It's quite fantastic. It is set in New Orleans, I believe in like 1880 or 1890, and it just has such an eerie and great vibe to it. We follow a character called Celine, and Celine has come from Paris running away from her biggest, darkest secret. When she gets to New Orleans, she lives in a convent and works outside of the convent to get money. And on the way, she meets a group of people who are basically just very mysterious, and she just gets sucked into the drama of this world. It is fantastic. I really enjoyed it. I do think it was a good book, and I do think that the next book is going to be just as good. Next up, we have Blood and Honey by Shelby Mahurin, and this is being released on the 1st of September. This is the second book in the Serpent and Dove series, and I just read Serpent and Dove. It was the first book of this year that I read, and I absolutely loved it. In it, we follow a girl called Lou, and she is a witch in a city and a country that absolutely despises witches. She is forced to marry a witch hunter, Reed, and in the story, we just have this extreme tension between these 2 characters, and we have amazing side characters as well. We have Coco and we have Ansel, and they're both great side characters, and the plot of the story is just great, and it ended off with a lot of things to look forward to in the next book, and I can't wait to read Blood and Honey. The next one looks like quite a curious one, and I thought it looked fantastic. I believe it was translated into English, and it is called These Violent Delights by Chloe Gong, and it is being released in the fall of 2020. Now, this is advertised as a YA fantasy retelling of Romeo and Juliet with the Godfather flair. So it is Romeo and Juliet, but with gangs and mafia vibe. I love it. I love that synopsis, and I can't wait. It is set in 1920s Shanghai, and a monster awakes which stirs trouble between 2 gangs which are already feuding. Now, the heirs to these 2 rival gangs get together and try and come up with a solution. I'm so excited for this. It looks fantastic. The next couple of books are ones that do not have official release dates. First up, we have the second book in the Nikolay Duality by Leigh Bardugo. Now, the first book, King of Scars, was amazing. I love Nikolay. He was one of my favorite characters from Shadow and Bone, and I liked King of Scars, but the ending, I was so angry and I was like screaming at the book. There is just a lot of tension at the end of King of Scars, and I need the next book in order to know where this goes. I need more. So I cannot wait for it. It does say it's being released in 2020, but if it is not released this year, it'll definitely be released next year. But if it is released this year, I am definitely reading it immediately. Then we have book 3 in the Legacy of Orisha series by Tommy Ademi. I absolutely adored Children of Blood and Bone when it first came out. In it, we follow a girl called Zeli, and she has magic in a kingdom which despises magic. This is just a very rough but amazing and exciting and adventurous book, and I have not yet gotten a copy of Children of Virtue and Vengeance, but it is on my to-buy list as soon as I get a paycheck, and I cannot wait to get it because it is a trilogy as far as I know, and I need all 3 of these books, and I need to reread them, and I just need my love for these books to continue forever. Next up, we have book 3 in Natalie C. Parker's series, which is the Seafire series, and it is weirdly on this list because I adored the first book. I read it in December and I haven't gotten a copy of the second book yet, but it looks good and I absolutely adored the first book. We follow a girl and she is basically the captain of this all-girl pirate cruise ship. Her and her crew rebel against this tyrannical overlord, and it is just a fantastic book. It was great and I cannot wait to get the second and then the third book. And last but certainly not least, and my most anticipated read of the year, and that is book 4 in the A Court of Thorns and Roses series. If you don't know anything about me, I am trash for Sarah J. Maas, which means that whenever she releases something, I'm really excited, but it just really helps that Throne of Glass and A Court of Thorns and Roses are 2 of my favorite series of all time. In it, we follow a girl called Feyre, and she is basically the care provider for her family, even though she is the youngest. And basically one day she kills something she is not supposed to, and in return she has to go over the magic ball that protects humans from Fae, and she has to live in a Fae court to basically repay for the bad deed she did. This is just one of my favorite series of all time, so it just gets better with each book, and I cannot wait for book 4. If it is being released this year, I am ecstatic. If it is being released whenever, I am ecstatic, but I need it as soon as possible because this is one of my favorite series of all time. So there we have it for my 20 most anticipated releases of 2020. If any of these books are on your most anticipated releases list of the year, let me know down in the comments below. Let me know which one you're most excited for, and don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, and I hope you have a good day and a fantastic reading year.